Hello humans, it's just Martine, and today's video is going to be a study with me video, but it's a very special study with me video because all of these clips were filmed in some of the first few days of what some people might call Dead Week, which is the week where it's the last week of classes, kind of. I had study days the last 2 days where I didn't have regular scheduled class, but it's the week before finals, so you're studying for finals, you're finishing all your final projects and such, and that's what this study with me is from. I did not film absolutely everything I did. There was a paper I had to write that I had to bribe myself to write by writing in 5-minute increments, so I wasn't gonna pull out my phone and record every time I did a 5-minute sprint for that, and I also didn't film this weekend when I've been studying for my bio final that is on Monday. There will not be a study with me specifically from finals week because I am fortunate enough to only have one regular final, and it's going to be on Monday morning, so finals week will be over for me pretty quickly. Thank you. I realize that I am in a very privileged position to be able to say that, and for that to be my reality. Anyway, before we jump into this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below. If you're still in school, how did finals go for you? Are you okay? How's vlogmas going for you? How's your holiday season? Are you all right? And subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And now, into the study with me. Thanks, Martine. Now it's just Martine's voiceover, and I'm going to be talking you through some things. First of all, here I am working on a project for scientific and technical communication. Our final project for that class was a group project, which went very interestingly, which was just a huge report. Ours ended up being 36 or so pages about a campaign that we'd create to help support a water crisis. In particular, we focused on the Navajo water crisis, and we recommended a social media campaign. And so that was pretty interesting, but I spend most of these clips honestly working on that and using the fake company name that our teacher assigned our group, creating logos, editing things, formatting, because it's really fun. It's not fun, it's tedious, but we wanted this to look good and we want to get a good grade. I would tell you that things turned out okay, and then we got a good grade, except we haven't gotten our grade back, so that's fine. And now here I am working on a slideshow presentation for a presentation in biology class. Our teacher throughout the semester has occasionally had us read an article and then assigned us different groups to focus on the different figures in the article. So my group was looking at figure 4, and this paper was about the snorkel gene in rice, which is a pretty cool thing. And then I'm back to working on the SciTech-Com report because I got a new burst of energy to work on it. It was later in the day. I saw that some of my teammates made edits or fixed suggestions, and I think here specifically I was working on making the references because nobody else had done that, so I was all right, I'm gonna do that now. So I looked up different references that we used and some that I then incorporated, and I made our reference sheet so that we could fulfill the requirements of using secondary research sources and stuff, and all those graphs that you see are from the Google Form primary research survey that we did, where we asked people to answer questions about the Navajo water crisis, the Navajo Nation in general, and whether or not they'd participate in a campaign like the one that we were proposing. And then I started working on making the PowerPoint presentation for our presentation on the Monday. No, the Tuesday of this week. I said Monday, but I have that class on Tuesday, so I was probably filming this on Monday. But I did start filming me working on the full report thing several days before that and just lumped it in because I wanted to. So I was in charge of making the PowerPoint. I used Canva to do that. I used Canva to make every graphic I ever want, and I've started making my PowerPoints on there too because it's just easier to make them look pretty, to be honest, and there are a lot more graphic and photo options. So I only had to cite one photo, the rest were free photos from Canva that I didn't have to cite, so that's always really helpful when you have to make a reference list, which is, every time you use stuff that's not your own. So there I was, adding the pictures and the information, and relied very heavily on graphics. Instead of talking points, I hate having a lot of writing on my slides, so I try to minimize that as much as possible. And I'm just going right here. She's really going through it. It didn't take that long to make this presentation, but I wanted to make it look good. And then I was working on taking some notes for my bio take-home exam. For our take-home exam, we're allowed to use any resource available to us except our classmates, like we're not allowed to work together. So I was reading the questions and taking notes on the different topics and what components there were to each question that I had to make sure to answer. So like in some, my teacher would specify, talk about ionic bonds when you talk about this. So I would write how ionic bonds relate, just so I would remember when I was actually writing the response and didn't have to go back and like check that I was answering the real question. And then here I was taking some notes for an internal review board of a research project that I'm working on with one of my professors. I was just looking at an old IRB thing and noting down the types of questions that it included, and then going in and filling some details about our project in, but like only very loose notes because I wanted to do something, but I just didn't have the time to do the whole thing for this week. So I just took notes on what I'd write in the future, and future me will probably be upset about this, but it's what I did anyway, and I'm proud of myself for doing anything for this research when it was not like it wasn't as important as the other things that I had to do, so I'm proud of myself for finding some time to work on it anyway. You know how I mentioned that I use Canva for pretty much anything, so we're about to see now that I didn't lie to you. I was making an outline for my Psych Honors seminar presentation, which was about mindfulness in incarcerated youth, but later I think in the same video, yes, right here in fact, I worked on creating the PowerPoint for that presentation. And then here I am working on my biotest during a Pomodoro session with my sister. That's the other computer that is in sight. I was just fleshing out the notes that I had written before, and I actually got to like 85% of the exam done on this night, and I was aiming for 50% that night. I had started at like 35% or something for the day. So I just worked on it for a few days and actually got to turn it in early, and so that was good. I always try and recommend to do things in small chunks so that you don't have to do it all at once and you're not too stressed out by it. And yeah, that's worked pretty well for me in my time in school. And then I got M&Ms because my sister got peanut M&Ms and I don't like peanut M&Ms, but I was like, wow, I have to have M&Ms now. So I had them, and they were very motivating for working on this biology exam, I must say. So that was a good move on my part, and thanks to Michaela for the inspiration. I sat here for quite a while doing this. Sometimes during the Pomodoro session, we'd like take a break and I just keep going because I was on a roll. But yeah, and here I am working on that specific Psych Honors seminar presentation that I mentioned that I was going to be working on about mindfulness in incarcerated youth. So I talked about everything from like the origins of mindfulness practices and the difficulties in defining mindfulness from a paper that I read last year when I was doing a research project by Chiesa. Really good article. And then I made this funny Venn diagram of like me in the middle of my interests. And again, using all the graphics on Canva were good. And the reason I used a blue background just like I did for my water project is because blue and purple are common colors, so if I was going to be talking about mindfulness, I wanted to do it with like a blue background. And then I came up with some discussion questions. That's all I have for you today. Bye humans, bye!